confidence can oftentimes be mistaken for other things because you're secure and certain for what you want.
Right.
But that must always be the thing that keeps you in check. It must be, I am willing to push for whatever it is I truly believe is for me, and I'm willing to expect more from myself.
That's Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Aspire Higher with Charles and Yvana. We're so grateful to have you listening, and we appreciate our audience so much. So thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing our podcast with other viewers and other listeners, because we truly are here to propel your life forward, to give you some key principles, and to help you to maximize your potential on earth. So we're going to start it off with some fortitude today. We're going to start it off with the book, The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion. Inside of our book, there are so many influential nuggets that are meant to propel your life forward in ways you could not even imagine right now. And with all of our stories combined, there are so many different things that I'm just honored to share. I'm honored to speak about it with our audience. I'm honored because it comes from testimony. It comes from tried and true, man. Trials, yes. Trials to triumph. And in what I know about confidence and what I know about conviction, man, we're going to unpack that in ways that it's going to help fortify your life today. So I'm going to start off. We have a wonderful chapter here, and on page 110, for those who have our book, I'm going to share a little bit. And the first, it says, it's under flicker or fired fortitude. Having a sincere belief that you belong will give you courage and confidence when potential problems threaten that conviction. You need both courage and confidence. I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah.
Courage and confidence are so important.
Yeah.
When I think about how someone enters into a room, how they make an impression, how they leave a lasting impression, that has everything to do with the confidence in who they are.
That's right.
When I coach my clients, and I want to say specifically with women, the way they enter into a room, I can read everything about them.
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
Men too, but it's very, very obvious with women. And what I know is that their inner belief of who they are, the conviction that they have within themselves, it can be challenged the moment when they step in and they feel discouraged. They don't cloak themselves with honor and power and courage. And it can be a process. It's not very easy to just adopt this confidence where you're walking, talking, and knowing and feeling great, but it's possible. And it's evident because you're sitting in front of two coaches that have been there. We understood what it was like through life to go through trials and tribulations that have really wounded our confidence. But we guide you through all of that in our book. And babe, you have been through some things as well, but even in the athletic world, oh my goodness, when I think about we've been through the athletic world, there is nothing harder, it seems like sometimes, than to go through doing all the steps right, being in position, being ready for something, and it feel like a failure or it feel like it didn't work out.
Right.
And adopting a confidence that stays with you through the end, man, it's really, really challenging. And I've worked with a client that wasn't in athletics, but she was in business. And
you still work with this client?
I do.
Yeah.
But in the season where it was very heavy for her and she almost had like a roadblock, a hurdle in her path, I kept trying to get her to understand something, because within our coaching, we may not tell you exactly this is the thing, but we guide you to a self-discovery of understanding
it is all about self-discovery.
What it is that you need to be aware of. We raise that self-awareness and we give you practical tools and tips and even help you understand through homework what it is that's inside of you that needs to come out and how you're going to win and how you're going to overcome. So with my particular client, there was a problem with her confidence. It felt like she had all the business smarts, the wits, the ability
power
to
and position.
perform, the power and the position that she carried was so heavy and was quite a leader.
Yeah.
However, when it came to her personal life, the confidence that was wounded started appearing out into her business and professional life. And it started looking like, I'll give you an example, aggression. Yeah, I could mic drop that real quick. With microaggressions, passive aggression.
Right. Talk about
straight
the
out
aggressions.
aggression.
I mean,
right?
straight up. Yeah.
I always look at the individual and I start to think, what made that response like that? What made them try to diminish someone like that? I've seen it a lot. And the root really does come down to the insecurity within.
Lack of self-confidence.
It comes down to the lack of self-confidence.
That's right.
So it's a false projection, right? And even deflecting, but it's really a false projection of what they truly don't believe about themselves. That's how we're going to start the show.
Believe about themselves.
Absolutely.
And on that note, since we're at the start of the show, we hadn't told you, but we need you. If you already heard that and you know this is about to be a lit show, hit that subscribe button, that like, share it for somebody that you need to hear. You can take the opportunity, if it's a passive aggressive way of passing it to someone, go ahead and share it to them too, because maybe they'll benefit, but you need to listen to the whole show as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I truly know what it's like to battle confidence and win. I don't ever speak from the battle and leave clients with, this is what I did in the battle. I try to inspire my clients and my friends, associates, anybody, family, from how I overcame it. How it looks on the other side of it, because people want hope. They want tangible faith to believe something that they can attach their lives with. And so when I think about confidence and I think about the power of confidence, it helps me to understand how confidence builds inner strength. Inner strength allows you to arrive into spaces, places, and positions to where people can respect you and honor you. A lot of people that self-project the aggression don't realize that people want to see others arrive authentically. They want that authentic voice. They want to feel that authenticity in the room, because we all know what it's like for someone to show up arrogant, pompous, a jerk. But when you start to do the inner work, in which we've talked about in our last episode, babe, that was amazing.
It was a great episode.
Know your worth. That was, man, it's so brilliant, because when you start understanding, you have to do the work. There's no skip over this. We can't fast forward it in life. You go through, you press through, you understand, push for what's yours, and then understand who you are, who you're to become, and adopt these things. But know that confidence is rooted within the individual that adopts it as well.
100%. 100%. And it has to be.
Thank you.
But that's the thing. Confidence also isn't that I'm trying to dominate and control circumstance.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Confidence can oftentimes be mistaken for other things, because you're secure and certain for what you want. But that must always be the thing that keeps you in check. It must be, I am willing to push for whatever it is I truly believe is for me. And I'm willing to expect more from myself.
That's right.
And others.
That's right.
Because we all can grow and aspire higher.
That's right.
Than where we are currently.
That's right.
That is what confidence may do.
Come on.
Sometimes people do need a kick in the butt.
Challenge. Right.
Confrontation.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Even with that, I'm going to speak from the athletic side, as we both come from that. But coaches are meant to challenge
and
their
confront
athletes.
100%. And coach.
If they don't challenge their athletes through the vehicle of coaching, they can get fired.
They will get fired.
We've seen many get fired.
Can to it. They're going to get
super high
canned.
turnover rates when it comes to athletics. You're in, you're out. They will be penalized. Like, there's so many different things. But most athletes don't go to coaches and they say, just, can you help me do bare minimum today?
Is it
tomorrow?
Okay, coach, if I just
it's
get
okay.
by? I'm kind of quietly quitting over here.
And we talked about that too in another episode, quiet quitting.
I don't really want to
so
do
many
this,
different things.
But I'll give you 60% today, coach.
No. With athletes, you want to get better.
You better.
You want to be the best. You better. You want to be the best, right? Or most aspire to be more than themselves. But with coaching, you don't ever tell yourself, I'm going to make sure that this client, this athlete just is par.
Yeah.
Just
that's what I want.
Barely
a whole
makes
bunch
it
of par
because it looks bad not only on them, but on you as well.
Absolutely.
Right? And the principle of aspiring higher is so important, because when you know who you are, when you develop a confidence and inner strength within your core belief of who you are and who you are to become, sky's beyond the limit. It's beyond the limit to achieve. It's beyond the limit to aspire higher in your mindset and then accomplish that. And so I want to open up the floor too with maybe some of your own things when it comes down to coaching and athletics, what you've seen.
Well, the reality of it is confidence will create challenge. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you won't know if you're confident, because it's going to require courage.
Right.
There's a lot of C's. I like alliteration.
I like it. Yeah.
I love alliteration.
Absolutely.
I find there's a lot of truth in it if you can do it correctly.
Correct.
Because it's true.
Correct.
Your challenges are meant to give you courage. You don't need courage for things that give you comfort. Otherwise, you wouldn't be challenged to grow. You need courage for the things that challenge you.
Challenge over comfort.
And that's the bottom line.
Challenge over comfort.
What happens in today's society is people are so sensitive.
Yeah.
And listen to this, because me saying that made someone feel.
Of course. I felt it.
Felt something. We all have to deal with that. I, Charles Bailey, have to deal with that.
Right.
I have to be willing to confront myself.
Correct.
I think that's what is so frustrating as a coach, not just as an athletic performance coach, but as a coach to elite individuals in business, leadership.
Right.
Just because people are in position doesn't mean they don't have the same struggles.
Oh, of course.
In fact, that's the reality.
That's right.
You better believe that the higher up a person has, the greater the struggle.
Exactly.
But the greater the need for humility.
Come on.
And the ability to have self-awareness. In business, one of the biggest topics of today that really sets apart great leaders and great coaches, athletically, professionally, is called emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. And it all starts with your own awareness of self.
That's right.
Being able to say to yourself, I have a gap here.
Yes.
I have a weakness here.
Yes.
I have a flaw here.
Mm-hmm. You brought up exactly how I coached my client through that time frame. I love the inner work, and I love when clients are willing to challenge themselves to do the inner work.
Right.
Because that's exactly what I said. And it was in that whole period of time, she was able to go within herself and not lie to herself, but say, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Because that's the reality.
That's exactly what I've done.
We love to cover ourselves and call it courage.
Of course.
Call it confidence.
It's not.
It's not.
It's cowardice. Cowardly?
Cowardice. Well, first of all, despite the fact that it doesn't matter if you had a mistake on the word, because the truth is that is true.
It's true.
And that's, again, alliteration. So it's beautiful.
Right.
It's not courage.
Right.
It's not confidence.
Right.
It's cowardice. Because you're hiding the reality of your flaws.
Yeah.
We talked earlier in our episodes about imposter syndrome.
Right.
If you hadn't seen that, it's one of our most popular episodes.
It is, yes.
Go back and take a listen.
Right.
But for the sake of this conversation, going back to what we're talking about, sometimes people will look at someone else and they'll try to dominate because they are afraid of being dominated.
Of course.
Now watch. But here's the reality of what you said earlier. It is sometimes the job of other people to challenge you.
Absolutely.
So that the thing that's on the inside of you can be corrected.
Come on.
So the question you have to ask yourself is, do I want to remain the same?
Right.
Or do I want to be corrected?
Correct.
This is a funny thing. Some people may miss the point, but you'll get it if you follow me. My mom and I laugh about this often, because the question I'll ask before I say anything is, who on earth doesn't want to be right? All right. So that's where I'll start that. But here's the point.
I know.
There are times when people say, oh, you just want to be right. Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't you?
Yep.
In fact, even as a Christian believer, I want to be righteous.
Yeah, true.
I want to know that I'm doing what's right versus what's wrong.
Right.
Everybody wants to be right.
Right.
The reality of it is that nobody wants to be challenged. And I remember saying this, I had a conversation with somebody once before, and I don't care, going back to emotional intelligence, but I also don't care if we miss this point, we miss the whole moment for healing and growth. if one person says they're right, another person says they're right, somebody's wrong. So it's okay to accept our own wrongs and our flaws.
Right, right.
And guess what happens when two people own their flaws?
Come on, healing.
They get confidence from each other and confidence in each other.
That's right. It's a magnet.
It's not just a magnet. It is the essence of coaching and leadership. If I can say to you, it's okay when I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And you can say to me, yo, you know what? It's okay. I'm wrong.
Right.
All right, you're wrong.
Right.
We can trust each other.
Absolutely.
And we're both going to shine because we know no matter what comes, we're both going to ensure that the other's truth is respected. But if one is wrong, we can respect that too.
And with vulnerability and truth, there is a power. It's a whole world with respect and honor. Respect and honor. A lot of people don't know their worth because they don't respect themselves.
They don't honor themselves.
And they definitely don't honor and respect other people.
And they can't respect other people.
That's right.
They can't honor people.
That's right.
Because they don't honor themselves. You know, we've been taught in our whole life that to honor yourself is selfish. So people will call you selfish because you have boundaries. We talked about that in many episodes.
Definitely.
The moment you start setting up boundaries, people want to start saying you're selfish.
Yeah.
Or you're focused
That's
on
fine.
this, or your tunnel vision. No.
That's fine.
I have finally gotten to a point where I have enough love and respect for me.
That's right. And I've done the work.
That I can be responsible for me.
Right.
Because I can't give to you from a place where I'm all over the place and I don't have any
out
boundaries
of chaos,
and there's no order.
Right.
So I can't give to you peace that I don't have.
Right.
I can't give to you love that I don't have.
Come on.
Can't give to you joy that I don't have. I can't give to you wisdom that I don't have.
It's impossible.
But people are still trying to do that.
Of course. And trying to become masters of it.
And pretentiousness and pretending.
Right.
And so what happens is they always have the hardest time with confidence.
Right.
Because they can't keep up with the pace of the lie that they have presented.
You tell one lie, you got to tell another lie.
My mama taught me that since I was a kid. So you tell one, you're going to have to tell another one.
Absolutely. You do.
And then I ask you, you got to tell another one to cover that one.
It's true.
And don't let me find out you lied.
Exhausted.
Because I'm going to get you for all of them.
Tear that butt up. It's not worth it.
For all of them.
It's just not worth it.
Which is why we opened up with fortitude.
Come on.
It's okay if you are expecting more of yourself.
That's right.
It's okay if you expect more of others.
Right.
That's how we grow.
That's right.
You have to have the audacity.
That's what you wrote.
To want
right there.
more for you and for others.
That's right.
But you also have to have the fortitude to stand in those convictions in a way that says, this is the way I must go.
Right.
In order for me to be right.
That's right.
Lauryn Hill said, how you going to win if you ain't right within?
That's right. You're not.
That's the point.
But a lot of people love masking everything.
Sure. And that's not confidence.
Covering everything.
That's cowardice.
It is. 2 C's, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because even as you mentioned fortitude, that was the next couple of words right after audacity.
Yeah.
Audacity to blank.
Yeah.
Want more for your life and expect more for and from others. That's a direct challenge.
Absolutely. And here's the funny thing about that direct challenge. It goes back to you and your clients.
Okay.
The reason why she was able to, and again, I remember this client. She's still with you. And here, man, first off, we got to talk a little bit about this because this woman in particular, there are others, but this one, she had the image of self-confidence, but didn't have self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
She was afraid of a promotion or either that she deserved a promotion. I can't remember the whole story. You'd have to tell it because it was your client, but I remember us talking. And again, client privileges, we try our best to be very discreet. We're not going to put any names out there or anything, but this is going to apply to someone who's listening.
Right.
But the point of the matter is once you were allowed to challenge her, she allowed herself to be challenged. She found herself literally growing in every area of her life, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally.
Correct.
Because most of us don't want our lack of self-confidence challenged.
Correct. One of the biggest, I'll say 2 things that are pretty big. When you hire a coach, when you hire a therapist, when you hire a person that can guide you through life, you are asking them to challenge the scope of how you perceive the world. How you perceive yourself, how you perceive the altercation, the situation, the incident, the accident, whatever it is. You're asking for someone out of your own lens to challenge you. People pay to be challenged.
Well, they should.
Of course. So why not continue to accept that challenge and do the work?
Yeah.
When she went through her challenges, it was weeks right after that she started to soar and started to ascend, started to think higher, think higher with a mindset of a champion. This woman went
and we're not just talking about some regular employee. I mean, she's like COO or whatever
top
of this multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yes.
Where she didn't, even in her position, didn't have a grip on self.
Right.
Same thing. Go ahead.
And most, I will say, in business can feel like that. Male or female, doesn't matter.
That's right.
Because you have a community that's doing the work with you and they are raising the business, the company, corporation up so high that sometimes you back up a little bit because you're like, they got it. So now the imposter syndrome starts to creep in because you're like, I built this, but dang, I'm not even doing it anymore. Or it's not all my idea. And so then you could start to paint the image of, well, I got it and I'm going to make sure that they're under me, or I'm going to make sure that I assume a dominance because I'm afraid. So all that projection, sometimes I'll even encourage the employee, you have to see these people for who they really are.
As human beings. The people that usually start a business, that have founded something, they carry on the same beliefs, traditions, they should at least, but they can evolve into someone else that you may not really know, like, or respect. But I challenge you to respect the authority and the role within them so that you can learn how to respect yourself, because you might be the same one day. You might end up being in their position.
That's what I'm saying. You might be in it.
This whole topic thus far, going back to the point of humility, do you have something you want to say real quick?
I do.
Oh, please, because I want a story.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Go ahead.
In athletics, I recall so many times where if it wasn't for my coaches challenging me, I would have given up. I would have stopped. I wouldn't have finished the race. I wouldn't even started the race. Some races, And we talked about a couple of athletes in particular that have dealt with anxiety at the line, anxiety or depression. And there are coaches that are meant to push you into that greatness. And that push hurts. I remember feeling personally like, I don't know if I could take this type of pressure. I don't. And challenge and pressure does produce efficient achievement.
It produces power.
It generates force. It moves me from point A to point B with speed, with timing, and velocity. And as I think about how many athletes go through the feeling of not wanting to be challenged anymore or settling, the greatest ones continue to even take whatever coach said and multiply it within their own minds and achieve it even greater and become the legends, the best, the GOATs, greatest of all time.
Well, even if not in the sport, then they're thinking, these are the lessons that I'll take with me to become my greatest and become a legend, even if only in my own mind, but in the sense that I can do more with the lessons I've learned because I am not afraid to be challenged and to allow others to challenge me. And that's a message for our leaders that are listening. If you are someone who has a company or are over other people and you are a manager of some sort, or supervisor, never miss the point that you are above them in your mind. These people support you and they're on the same plane. They're there for you to be challenged, to grow, not just you to challenge down. If you don't want to go to the next level, then fine. Don't let anybody else challenge you. You're not meant for the upper levels of leadership. If you're willing to accept that, I'm not speaking that over you. I'm just saying most people want the position and the power, but they don't want other people pushing them. Even their employees saying, we could do this better. Do you think we could try this?
Of course.
You know what? Because it was your idea. Absolutely.
Listen to the voice. That's right.
Listen.
That's right.
And guess what happens? The employers and the employees' relationships get better because there's trust.
Right.
And there's a confidence.
Right. And you're not too high.
And watch, the leader becomes more confident.
Right.
Because the employees, instead of them thinking, oh, they just want my job, they want me out of here. No, I don't want to see this person go because they're the best manager I've ever had in my entire life. They listen to us. They take our considerations. They take whatever we say and put it into practice. If it doesn't work, instead of them scolding us, they say, hey, that was a great idea, but now we see why it won't work. But what if we try this? We work as a team.
Right.
And that goes back to the athletic side as well.
That's right.
But there's a story I wanted to say.
Okay, go ahead.
I can't remember the exact person.
Okay.
But the story will make sense. It's a real life historical fact, though.
Okay.
There was an undersecretary for the U.S. government that was speaking at a conference. And when he was in office, he had to go speak to this, I think it was like thousands of people. And what ended up happening was they flew him first class, put him in the best hotel, 5-star, red carpet experience. He got to the venue. He didn't even have to ask for coffee. Somebody walks up with a cup of coffee with the ceramic mug. He was treated like he was royalty. Now watch this. The very next year, he was no longer the undersecretary for the U.S. government. He was invited to speak at the same exact conference. He's getting ready to make his address, and he walks on stage with a styrofoam cup of coffee. Just a regular cup of coffee that you would go pour on the side if you're at a regular conference. And he starts his address, and he shocks the audience because he stops. He looks at his coffee, and he just laughs. And he looks up at the audience, and again, he says, last year, I was the undersecretary, and I was treated like royalty. I was flown business class. I had an incredible rest. He said all these details that I had already said. He said, but this trip, I flew coach. This trip, it wasn't the best hotel. This trip, I didn't have a driver come pick me up from my hotel. I had to catch a cab. This trip, I walked into the building. No one shook my hand. No one stopped to ask who I was. And he said, I asked if there was any coffee. And instead of someone running to get me coffee in a nice, beautiful printed mug, he said, one of the employees points over there to a corner where there's a pot of coffee and styrofoam cups. And he said, I'm saying this to you because I want to remind all of you, the esteem you hold in your mind that you think was for you, it's not for you. It's for the position that you held. You, just like me, will always deserve this styrofoam cup of coffee. He said, we all need to remember this lesson of humility.
Humility, that's it.
Now, mind you,
right.
This is, again, one of the more confident men in history. I think this was in the 60s. But the point I'm making is his self-confidence. He was also making the point, didn't rely on all the things that other people said, the way that people held him in esteem. He had enough self-esteem to be okay. But the point was, is there are people who are not okay, and they're living in the esteem that their position holds, and they don't have any esteem for themselves.
Wow. Yeah. There are quite a few people that can relate to that.
Yeah. That was an incredibly impactful story that I'll never forget.
Yeah, for sure.
Always remember, no matter how high you get, always remember, no matter where you are, where you think you are, you deserve that cup of styrofoam coffee.
Come on. Every time.
With the rest
every time
of everyone else.
Every time.
Who's just like you.
I want to speak about confidence in that sense as well. When I go to speak and I go to present, I always look for the people in the background. I look for the production crew. I look for the ones that have to restock the Chick-fil-A, the donuts, whatever it is. I look for the hospitality team. I look for the individuals that might have to have the screens running up and the monitors. And I really try my best to introduce myself, thank them, acknowledge what they did for us, and bless them with whatever I can.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yes. Bless them with your presence.
That's the habit that I've developed as a lifestyle of humility.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't for them,
you ain't got no show.
If, like our sound engineers, the people that are running the cameras now, if it's not for them, I can't do it all. Absolutely. How am I going to do this all? There's no way. So when you give honor from the seat of humility, you confidently show that person respect, love. You give them a minute to feel acknowledged,
Yeah.
and it goes a long, long way. And the faces of shock, the faces of, I didn't expect that. That is how we shift culture. No one ever did this for me. Why?
Yeah.
But when you start to make that your norm, I guarantee someone else can see that.
Yeah.
I guarantee someone else can be inspired by that. I guarantee. And even with that same client, I encouraged her to start doing similar things.
And that's what I was hoping
do that for
your
employees. Start showing them what confidence really looks like.
That's right.
Come on.
Because confidence is not always needing to be with the people that you want to associate with because they have what you perceive as power,
right,
or position,
right,
or money,
right,
or status. Because one of the books I read, I have to shout out an old former mentor of mine. At the time, he was a great mentor to me, and I'll never forget what he offered me when I was an undergraduate student. It was one of my coaches. He was an assistant coach for the track and field program. And he said, I want you to read this book called How to Become CEO. Very small read. I reference this book everywhere I go. And one of the things in the book talks about treating the janitor the same way you would treat the CEO of the company.
That's right.
And you don't recognize it when you're doing it. But when you're instilling confidence in other people that others would ignore or not even take the time to notice,
right?
You instill confidence in them, your confidence grows because your life means something to someone. That's one point.
Right.
Secondly, you have no idea who these people are connected to,
man,
or the words they will share
about
you. And I know you know it because
I know.
You and I both have lived this.
Yes.
Where they put your name in rooms.
That's right.
You hadn't even been invited to yet.
Not at all.
I love when people say things about, while you were over here hoping I would get an invitation to your table, I was over here building my own. That's fine.
Right. Right.
And I think that to a degree that should be respected, but I think we're getting a little too pompous with that statement.
Okay.
But what's more beautiful is when you go to someone who doesn't even have a table and you say, you know what, even if there's not a table, let's just sit together.
Yeah.
Because when they get to the table, they're going to remember you.
Absolutely. 100%.
And they're going to say, I want you to be at the table because you sat with me when we didn't even have one.
That's right. That's right. That's what it takes.
What it takes.
That's what it takes. That's confidence.
And that's courage.
Strong confidence.
Because you've seen this in high school. How does it look when the person who's supposed to be the popular person,
of course, sits with the
not so popular people?
Of course.
That's a choice that person made, but they have the utmost confidence.
Absolutely.
Athletes, you hear me. There may be an athlete that right now isn't playing to the level that other people are, and maybe not to your level. You feel confident because you're dominating them, or you feel good because this person ain't going to take my spot. I dare you to go to them and say, let me help you hit this route. I dare you to go to them and say, you know what? I could go over here and train with this other person, but let me work out with you. Bro, you got potential. I want you to get better because when you get better, I get better. And I want to push you and I want you to push me. Start doing that. You think that they're the only people that are paying attention?
Coaches.
You think they're the only people that you're impacting?
Yep.
Because one, you're impacting them, but you're impacting yourself because now you're developing true leadership and true courage.
Come on.
And then secondly, people see it because you're not doing it for them to see it.
That's right. That's right.
Typically, the people who want to be seen don't get seen. And when they do get seen, people don't want to see them.
Yeah. It's true. We hope that this episode really did challenge you. That's our hope. Because within challenge, your confidence can soar. We want you this week to really, really think about the areas of your life that you might need to do a little bit more work in. And to those that are doing the work, I encourage you to go even further and inspire someone else. Help someone else understand what true confidence looks like through humility, what it's like to empower others at your job, corporation, your not-for-profit, whatever it is, through confidence that requires leadership skills to where you're reaching out.
Come on.
Reaching outwards.
As opposed to holding tightly.
As opposed to gripping things out of fear tightly. So if this podcast has inspired you, if this episode said something to you, write it in the comments. Like it. It helps us know that we're helping you. Please subscribe to our channel. Tell others to subscribe to our channel. Tell your employees to subscribe, your kids, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever it is.
That's right.
Your dog.
Oh, okay, that's strange.
All right, I know. But tell people we want to continue to build a community. We want to impact our audience. We want to provide you with quality, not the garbage that's out here nowadays. We want to fill your heart, mind, body, and soul with wisdom, confidence, and the ability to maximize your potential and help you to aspire higher in life. And if you don't have our book, please go get it.
Go get it.
Available anywhere books are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever you are, anywhere.
Digital.
The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion. Follow this book. Walk with us. Communicate to us. If you do want that coaching,
that's right.
If you need that lens of challenge, but with encouragement, there's a way to challenge people and encourage them and help them to grow and aspire
some people
higher.
Need a hard push.
Contact us. We have our website listed.
Let's go.
Reach out. We cannot wait to book a call with you, and we cannot wait to share testimonies of how this episode helped transform your life. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for sharing. Bye.